Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Unpopular Reviews. My name is Shuri Needs a Spinoff because she does. Anyway, I'm the Mark Victor Rodriguez, and this evening I am joined by none other than C, the Superior.
Hey, everybody.
Okay, I can hear you now.
Pleasure to be here. Talk about Black Panther.
Yep. And diaspora. Okay. Diaspora. All right. So obviously there is a reason why you're
for everything.
Yes, there is always a reason. So
why do I pick diaspora? What does it mean? What does it have to do with my favorite character in the film? Who spoke to me the most? Stay tuned.
Facts. Okay.
Right.
Okay. So I just want to say one thing.
All right.
Wakanda forever. I love I loved this.
Look, he got so tired of doing that. Poor Chadwick Boseman. He was so tired of doing the Wakanda forever.
That's all right. That check was nice though.
That's true. He's not tired of the money, so he better keep on doing it.
So hell no. But this. I'm telling you, this is awesome. Yeah, this movie was great, and you could see my name, and clearly, I had other than one favorite character in this movie,
and it makes sense that you pick her because of tech. You're a tech guy.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. It makes a lot of sense that I picked her because I'm so fucking jealous. Oh my god, she's like a female. She's like a female Iron Man. Yo, I want to marry this girl. Anyway, it was great.
Let me give a synopsis though, and then we'll jump right into it. I got a question off the bat for Vic about what he thought of Shuri and her lab and everything like that. But here's the synopsis: Black Panther, ladies and gentlemen. So, following 1 week after the events of Civil War, T'Challa prepares to take the mantle of King and Black Panther. Unbeknownst to the Wakandans, however, a new and familiar threat arises in the form of Eric Killmonger and Ulysses Claw, who alert the new king when they steal vibranium from a British museum. The true threat, however, to the throne goes unnoticed as someone's true heritage and title is revealed, and the truth unleashes a battle for the Wakandan throne, the country, and world at large.
All right.
So this movie... Oh, no. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Chris.
Oh, no, I was just thinking it came out in 2018, and I remember it being like a really big, like, people couldn't wait to see this movie. I had to buy my ticket, like, at least, I think I bought it like a month and a half in advance to get opening night tickets. It was packed in there. It was just like, it was a big event.
Did you have to see it opening night?
I went to see it opening night. I dressed up and everything. It was a big
who did you dress up as? Or just...
I had my Black Panther little cosplay thing together, and they let me wear the mask. I was wondering if they were going to let me wear the mask in the theater, but they did. And I went by myself.
You wear it now. You can wear anything you want in the theater now.
Oh well.
For a different reason, though. For a different reason, but
right, for a different reason. Not that kind of mask. Yeah. This was before this. Before COVID. But yeah, it was awesome, and it was so many people dressing up because it was such an event. It was more than a movie. It was an event. And that's one of the first Marvel movies that I've seen have that kind of impact, because I've seen like people dress up to go to like Harry Potter films. I've seen that before. I've seen, I remember when I went to the premiere of Twilight New Moon, people didn't dress up, but they did wear like their Team Jacob shirts, Team Edward shirts. But this was the first movie that I've seen that in Marvel that had like a whole backing. Like they wanted to look like Black Panther, they wanted to look like Wakandians. It was awesome.
Vic,
did you go opening night? Did you dress up?
No. I didn't do that because I couldn't get tickets. But I did the technology thing, and I just did the bootleg. And the first time that I saw it, and I just I did that part. But I liked it then, and now that I saw it clearly, I like it now. And I always thought it was great, but what I really enjoyed at the time was the effect, because there's a lot of, this is a fictional character, it's a fictional movie, but then there's a lot of reality based on it. Everybody popped when they heard the word colonizer. Also, like, you know, the reality of the situation is just that, like, without the Congo, without the minerals that are in the Congo, we don't have cell phones. So like, it's pretty similar. It's pretty similar to reality, you know, when they talk about vibranium and the minerals that are in the mountains and where it is and how it pretty much can supply a lot of things for the world and things like that. Like, it's a lot of it is just based on a lot of parts of reality. And then the other thing is just that, you know, in this country, you have a situation where you have a lot of people that are not that don't have a psychological association to their home country. Okay. So the way that everybody just responded and showed up, and you know what I mean, in African clothing, and everybody just really like took this movie in as a cultural thing. I really enjoyed that, especially with, you know, with everything that you see in here, you know. But other than that, the action.
Yeah.
Let me raise this question because I'm curious if Chris saw it on opening night. I don't think I did. I don't remember that I saw it on opening night, but I remember I saw it while I was in the theaters. But you know, all of us obviously are children of the diaspora. You know what I mean? Hence where my name comes from. And clearly, who I can understand their point of view, and I align closer to in the movie. Obviously, is Eric Killmonger. And I'll go into that in greater detail later. Whereas I can understand T'Challa and what the Wakandans were trying to go for and what their aim was. I relate more to Eric Killmonger. But I'm curious, Chris, did you see it open tonight? Chris, can you hear us?
I heard you until the very last line. What did you ask me?
No, I was saying, did you see the movie open tonight?
Negative. Okay. It was too much of a fight and a struggle. It was like going for a Popeye's chicken sandwich when opening night. So I wasn't trying to fight for no daggone tickets. I just waited to go see it.
You just buy them online in advance, guys.
Yeah, well, some of them was a little easier than others. I mean, this movie broke some records when it comes to trying to buy it on online beforehand. Now, Chrissy, I know I heard where you were successful in going to do that, and I'm really proud of you. Unfortunately, I failed. So, I mean, if you want to take my black card because of that, go ahead. But I couldn't make it open tonight. But I did see this movie 3 times in the theater.
I'm taking your card because you compared getting the ticket to Black Panther to getting some Popeye's chicken.
That's right.
Well, you know, if you look at most of those videos,
that's why I'm taking your card.
Look at most of those videos, it was black people going after them chicken
sandwiches.
Why
does it have to be fried chicken?
They're in our neighborhoods.
That just why
Vic brought up something important, and I want to touch on that. And that's why I said, you know, we're all children of the diaspora. Did you find that this movie spoke to you in a different way than other people that you knew, that they couldn't relate to it? Did you get certain things like, did you pick up certain pieces of history? As you said, Wakanda is not a real place. And yet, if you look at the Congo, you know, clearly it's speaking of the Congo and the minerals that we take from the Congo, and it powers the world. Everybody wants to get a piece of the Congo. If you want to look this way, Ulysses Claw is supposed to be a Belgian. You know what I mean? The Belgians were in the Congo in the 19th century. So did you find different nuggets like that throughout the film? I know for me personally, I did. And the movie, I didn't watch it as like just entertainment. There are a lot of points in this movie where I was just sitting back, and it was very powerful for me to take it all in. You know what I mean? It was like not an overload, but it was hitting those buttons, you know, for me.
Yeah, no, definitely. For lack of a better phrase, it definitely hit the black spot.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It definitely did. This movie definitely did that, and I really liked the way that it did do that. And I really think that that part of that was probably intentional, because the effect that happened through just the way that people responded to this movie, you know, and you can go as simple as just the clothing, but then what I also like is the story. One thing that resonated with me was the 5 tribes, because you know, even, you know, my history on this side of the world, there were 5 tribes on the island when Columbus landed. So that's just a part of the story that doesn't get told. But when it comes to that, that's something that resonated with me right away from the beginning of the whole thing, and everybody came together and banded together and created Wakanda. Even though everybody had their own separation, and it was just like the island. You know what I mean? Everybody had their own tribes, but then we were Quisqueyanos. So, and the same thing with the Borinquens. Yeah, I'm sure you know about that, Chrissy. But yeah, so like it really, really spoke to me on that level, because that's something that came from Africa. You know what I mean? There are African tribes still there, and these are basically the original people. So like it really, really spoke to me just on a deep human level above all else, and because these are not things that you see normally. So I really, really appreciated that.
And plus the fact that when Black Panther, when he came in, he wasn't like, no offense to Falcon, but he wasn't like a Falcon. He wasn't like a secondary character. He wasn't a sidekick. He wasn't the comic relief of the movie. He was his own superhero in his own right, and he was the king. So he was, not only was he a king, he was a superhero, and that is something that really spoke to me, because obviously I'm a superhero fan, and you don't have as many superheroes of color that I would like. There's a lot more now. Like there's coming, like there's more and more. But the fact that this was like so mainstream, and he was a Black superhero, not a Black sidekick, was something that spoke to me. And also the fact that this movie is filled with highly melanated Black people. It isn't like one of those where you see where they could be like Halle Berry's or like very light skinned, and you're like, okay, ambiguously Black. These people are unmistakably of African descent. And I thought that was wonderful to see.
Yes.
On film too.
I think the only light skinned person was Killmonger. Straight up, like
he was kind of brown. He was brown.
Yeah. No, honestly, one thing that I stumbled upon while going to watch this movie is that they had an animated series 10 years ago, and they had an animated series 10 years ago, and they only had one season. Yeah, actually, let me see if I can pull it up real quick. Yeah.
What was it? It was on TV?
It was on ABC. ABC Me.
Really?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Deep in the heart of Africa lies Wakanda, an advanced and unconquerable civilization. A family of warrior kings possessing superior sea strength and agility has governed this mysterious nation as long as time lives. The latest in his frame is young King T'Challa, a great hero known as the Black Panther. So it doesn't show the story of him. Let me see if I can get a picture, right, or something, right? Because it only shows one season. Right? So I don't know if it just, and it was 1/15/2010. So I'm gonna see if I can get some clips off of that to show you guys. But I found that very, very interesting. So it looks like they had these plans a long time ago, because this movie came out in 2018. So but then when it comes to Black Panther, but my point in even saying that is just that, like, when you think of Marvel, unfortunately, Black Panther is not somebody that you thought about until now. And that's something that I really, really appreciate. Unless you read the comics, unless you, but it's literally mainly Cap and we have all 4 shades now. We have all the shades that we need. Chris, that is perfect. That is perfect. Now we have all 4 shades. There's more shades, ladies and gentlemen. But now we have all 4 shades. Chris, you are doing true to the movie right now.
Yes.
I felt like if I felt like I was going to talk about Black Panther and I felt like I was going to be Wakanda forever, I thought I should do it justice. Unfortunately, I landed. I landed some vibranium and gave me superpowers, so now you can call me. You can call me the Shadow, right? Yeah, I know.
Black Shadow. You can't just be the Shadow. This is Black Panther. You have to be the Black Shadow.
I do have to be the Black Shadow because the other Shadow turned into an intimidation of Donald Trump. But yes, I'm not John Cena, and when The Rock makes Black Adam, he'll be the first ever Black anti-hero. Somehow, I think you're wrong on that, and we'll find out from it. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm here. The executive consultant is on the air. No reason to feel, like you got shipped off to Wakanda or some other place. No reason to fear that guy, Claw, is going to come and attack you. Speaking of Claw, I'm Dr. Claw. Let's see who gets that reference because somebody wanted to be a jackass earlier, and that's why I'm here right now, but left my cat in my old apartment. Where we at? Because I had to get out just to get back in. Where we at?
We're at. I want to ask everybody this. Who was there a particular character? Because this movie is filled with different characters who each get to shine in their own light. Was there anybody in this film? I have mine. I already said it. It's Eric Killmonger. But was there anybody in this film who particularly spoke to you?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes. To me, no, the line of the movie to me, you are a good man. And it's hard for a good man to be king.
Yeah.
It is very true.
That's your line, but was there a particular character for you?
Oh, no, you can see that. That's on the name.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. It's hard. That's me.
Can I ask you a question? Okay. Actually, no, I'll wait for C to Superior to go, and then I'm going to ask questions about why you all chose that particular character as your person.
Chris, say yours too, though.
Oh, I'll say mine.
Okay.
I'll say mine.
Okay, so for me, one particular character that stuck out for me, okay, of course there's Killmonger because you can kind of identify with his plight almost in a way because he experienced what it's like to be of African descent in America. But I also enjoyed I keep forgetting her name, the warrior girl with the bald head from The Walking Dead lady.
Yeah.
Yeah, her character because she was a strong female character, kicking ass all over the movie. She was awesome. I really enjoyed her character.
When she threw the spear. When she threw the spear and stopped the car. What?
She was kick ass. She was no games kick ass. And even when they had the gun, she was like, "Oh, the gun's so primitive," and she pulled the spear out. She just destroyed the car. Like she was really cool. So I'm gonna go with her.
I want to come back to that because I want to put up there too a strong woman, Nakia, because remember she's a spy, she's a diplomat of sorts, you know what I mean, and she's a fighter in her own right as well, and we saw that throughout the movie too.
I love how sassy she is, though. I would make a good queen because I am stubborn.
She had her own mind, you know.
Yep. Yeah. If I wanted that, that shit was great.
So of course I pick Eric Killmonger. It's a running joke between the executive consultant and myself and anybody who knows back in high school. Well, I call him Eric Lyncher and he calls me Charles Xavier, clearly for that reason. But the reality of the situation is, in the real world, I align closer to that Malcolm X, that Eric Lyncher philosophy. You know what I mean? And
Black nationalism.
Yes.
Okay.
Black Power movement. You know, and Eric Killmonger again. He does, and I'm not excusing the murders that he committed in the movie, but as far as if we're talking about his philosophy, and his philosophy really is a traumatized version of what Prince Njobu, his father, was really stressing, right? Which he got even from, as he says, from Black leaders in the States and everything, and throughout the diaspora that he studied when he became a war dog. That is what I align more with, and it's relatable to me. I thought it was very real. We said it earlier. It's unapologetically Black. You know what I mean? And I love that about that. I have some criticisms about Eric Killmonger, which speak to not as far as acting, but speak to a very real thing that happens in the Black community. And I'll touch on that later, but I just want to say Eric Killmonger. As far as the lines go, and it speaks to why I picked Eric Killmonger and that whole, the tragedy of his story. And you could argue the tragedy of so many that we know, you know, and even us to a certain respect. In the opening lines of the movie, he goes, "Baba," and his father replies, "Yes, my son." And he goes, "Tell me a story." Says, "Which one?" And he says, "The story of home." So that implies that he doesn't know his home. He knows it exists. He knows it's real, but only because his father tells him. And all his knowledge, all his information comes from his father. And that knowledge, that link to his home, his security, all of that was taken away when his father was killed. And then he was left behind. So I'll leave that right there. But Chris, go ahead and take it.
Well, it's very interesting. You did pick Eric Killmonger. I was actually going to bring up a little bit of that. You know, it sounds like you changed names to Eric. You know, there's going to only be one Eric, but that's fine. Killmonger, really good. Glad to see he spoke to you. You said Shuri needs a spinoff. You explained why you think Shuri needs a spinoff. Whether or not I agree with you is completely irrelevant at this point. That is your story. You should stick to it. Shuri needs a spinoff to make absolutely no money because she's going to bore everybody. See this?
No, she won't. You know why? Because if they put her,
it makes sense. And
wait, what's the ball? What's the bald girl's? What's the bald girl's name again? Okoye. If Shuri and Okoye get together and do a spinoff, yo, I'm telling you, it'll be the next Spice Girls. It'll be fire. Trust me.
Maybe I feel like she should have a cartoon spinoff.
Even that.
Like if it's going to be
even
like
that. Just this little girl.
Like if she had like a cartoon.
This little girl getting on the computer, coding, and all of a sudden coming out with all this wild shit. Come on.
Yes, but with the voice actors being black this time, because that's what everybody's now.
Word up.
But anyway, yeah. So who is it that you most connected with, Chris, in the movie?
Hold on. I wasn't done because he over here. Yeah. Calm down. He says Shuri, she going to board. Now let's talk about you and your character. Your character is Okoye, right? Yeah. You know her from Walking Dead, so I'm trying to figure out what resonated so much from you that you can't even remember her name.
Because I just got off work and I'm doing a whole bunch of things. I can't remember a lot of names, but she did resonate with me as far as her character. Maybe not her name resonated with me, but her character, yes.
Okay.
What her personality, yes. Her kick-assness, yes.
Okay. Well, I don't know any names other than T'Challa. That's the only name I know in this movie, but. James, since he knows he's the encyclopedia of Black Panther, maybe you can tell me the character that I'm going to say that I resonate with, okay? You ready? It's going to shock a lot of people, all right? What is that SHIELD agent's name?
What is the what?
The SHIELD agent's name.
I knew you were going to
Agent Stone?
What?
There we go. No, that's not him.
No, you know what his name is? Colonizer. That's his name.
Yes, the Colonizer.
When he said which character spoke to you, I knew using this. I knew that. I knew what he was going to say.
Using your Charles Xavier, you knew what I was going to say. All right.
Yeah.
What's his character's name? You said Stone. Agent Stone's his name.
It's not Agent Stone.
So he resonated with you, but you don't remember his name.
Wait, you're talking about the guy with the arm?
No, not Claw. I'm talking about the guy that was an agent, and he was the only white person in Wakanda.
He's talking about
wasn't it Stone? Agent Stone.
It's Everett Ross. It's Everett Ross.
It's Everett Ross. Okay, thank you for looking that up. So Everett Ross is the character that I most resonated with. Why? Because he was the odd man out of everybody there. So he wakes up, right? It reminds me of the day I was born. He wakes up and he sees all these people around. He's like, I have no idea what I'm doing here. I just know I am an essential part of this movie and this cast. So I need to do something. He was so essential that they had to make up something for him to do at the end of the movie by bashing somebody in the back of the head. That's how essential he was. That's why he resonated so well.
But wait a minute. He went over to the country he went to go get T'Challa with the three girls when at the other guys at the the guy that he fought in the beginning of the movie. He went over there and got them.
Vic, I'm sorry.
And then he also highlighted the fact that he went over there to go get them to go get T'Challa. With the guy that showed up, you know what I mean? I forget his name.
M'Baku. He was actually a close second though. I almost picked M'Baku.
I mean, like I understand Chris because he likes the heels, so I get that. But he did help, and he took a bullet for the girl, and then mind you. And that also showed you the power of Wakanda. Like, come on, you take a bullet in the spine and you good the next day. Woo! Man,
you know what
awesome.
I was wondering?
Plot device.
You know how in Thor they showed Asgard? I was wondering, what if there was a fight between Wakanda and Asgard? Who do you think would? Because Asgard is cool.
Considering every time we see Asgardians fight, they get their ass beat. I would say Wakanda by far. The only one who doesn't, even he loses. The only one who doesn't lose, I was going to say, is Thor, but even he loses. The soldiers always get killed.
No, you know what? You know who I think would win? I think Wakanda would win. You know why? Because the gatekeeper would switch sides.
Well, I don't think that would happen. I don't think that would
switch sides.
He's a
I don't know how he switches sides and he's dead. He's dead. He's done.
No.
Hey, tell us in the comments, guys. Who do you think will win, Asgard or Wakanda?
He made a mistake. He made a mistake. He paid for the mistake.
But in Asgard, I thought
he couldn't even last 2 minutes. Like a horror movie, he was like the first person to die. Look, here's all I'm saying.
Oh man, when Jada Pinkett died in Scream, I was mad.
What are we talking about here?
Sorry. Like a horror movie. The first person.
Let's go ahead into the next segment of the movie right after we take a small commercial break and see what movie we're reviewing right after this one.
So, you're supposed to be Tom's best friend that he won't shut up about. Well, I don't see the appeal. That is very...
Thank you for watching this edition of the Unpopular Review. If you like what you're watching, please subscribe to us on our social media on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at UPRYEPILW. Also, while you're at it, subscribe to our friends at Yep I Like Wrestling on the same social medias at YEPILW. Yep.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome back. We are in the presence of a few people, including a chair. But anyway, welcome back. Black Panther popular review. Executive consultant here in the Scar. See Disappear as well as Shuri needs a spinoff. And we're here talking about Black Panther. Sonic was actually a good movie, and we're going to be reviewing Sonic right after this movie that we're reviewing now, Black Panther, the highest grossing box office movie of all time in the United States. So I should say domestic. See Disappear.
Yes.
This movie you saw opening night. How many times did you see it in the movie theater?
I also saw it 3 times.
Nice.
I loved it every time.
Nice.
I enjoyed it every time I saw it. You saw something different every time you saw it. But I will say the final scene, the final battle, was a little underwhelming for me. Like it's I don't know if it was because that we were so used to like these big extravagant, or at least me, I was used to the big extravagant like final fights of, the Avengers, and we got, all the other movies that had like these really big theatrical final battles. And this one was between some rhinos and the Wakandians and Black Panther and Killmonger. I just didn't enjoy the final battle as much as I guess other people did, but I still liked the movie overall.
I mean, I kind of agree with you, but one of the reasons why I think a lot of people really resonated with the final battle was Killmonger's last words.
Oh yeah, that's true. We said, "Bury me with my ancestors." That, well, I can't remember the exact quote, but yeah, it was a good quote.
Death is better than bondage.
I'll tell you the quote right now. But let me say this. I agree with Vic, but here's why I say the last battle is a battle, quote unquote. Remember, the whole premise of the movie is not about lead up to a fight. Whereas the other ones that we compare it to in the MCU are about a fight, and we're just waiting for it to come. You see what I'm saying? So it has to be a bigger fight, right?
Oh, shit.
If we look at Winter Soldier, if we look at Civil War, the whole movie is about the fight. So if there's not a big, grandiose battle, then what are we doing here, right? This one is about philosophy and the direction of a people, right? On the one hand, you have T'Challa and the Wakandans who, and not even all the Wakandans believe that they should isolate themselves. You have a lot of them, especially Daniel Kaluuya's character, who believe that they should go out and they should liberate the rest of the, as you say, melanated peoples, Black peoples around the world. Not all of them feel that way. Okoye even believes that too, but remember, her first duty is to protect Wakanda and the throne. So she's not going to be promoting that too much. Nakia wants to go out and do humanitarian aid and help people throughout the diaspora. The royal family, though, for the most part, has been just keep the tradition, do the same thing. Our fathers did this and we're going to do the same thing and everything like that. When you look at Prince Njobu and Eric Killmonger on that side of the family, they're more militant. They have been living under the dictatorship, and we call it a dictatorship, of white supremacy. It is what it is. There's no other name to give it. And so they want to liberate not only themselves, but throughout the entire diaspora of Black peoples, right? By any means necessary. Okay, as Malcolm said. And they are willing to do anything and stamp at nothing to do that. I mentioned earlier that I wanted to highlight something, a critique about Killmonger. There's a sequence when he rescues Ulysses Claw from the CIA cell, right? And they're at that little airlift, and Ulysses Claw takes Eric Killmonger's girlfriend hostage, and he says, "Drop the gun or I'll kill her." And without hesitation, Killmonger shoots his girlfriend and kills her, and then proceeds to try and kill Claw, right? Which he does. And I wanted to highlight that, you know, for Black males, and you could argue, somebody could say whether or not they have a right to be that angry or why they're that angry. Or, you know, every time there's a police video or something like that, somebody's always like, well, if they're doing too much, if only they just acquiesce and, you know, just get bent over the table and take it, then they'll be all right. You know, there comes a point when you get tired of being treated however you're being treated. You know what I mean? You know, there's a point when a woman gets tired of all the compliments. You know what I mean? When you look pretty. Enough is enough. Number one, nobody asks that. Of course, we live in a regular world. Somebody's always going to say something, but I shouldn't hear that every day. I shouldn't hear that from people who I pay for their jobs. That's just a fact. I'm not even going to entertain the argument, right? So Killmonger is pissed. He's furious, right? And in his fury, he will stop at nothing to accomplish his goals or his father's goals, as I said in the beginning, right? But his first responsibility as a man, once you invite a woman into your life, is to protect that woman and look out for her well-being. No, I don't care about the equality and all of this and everything like that. A man's job is supposed to protect his house. Yep. And that scene, I love that scene when he literally shoots her. She didn't just get shot in, you know, a stray bullet. He shot and killed her because his anger outweighed his love for that Black woman. And I wanted to highlight this, that you see this in a lot in our communities, the anger that some Black men feel, or some Black males, if you don't want to give them the title of man, because they're so angry, because they've been so hurt, because they've been so fractured, because they know they're fractured and don't get help or believe that there's no way out or just give into the depression, they hate Black women. And it often goes unsaid. And I like that they put that in the movie. I like that. I don't like it, but I like that they showed that Eric Killmonger would hurt women. When after he killed Zuri and the next high priestess was there, he picked her up and choked her and was going to choke her to death. He didn't care about any of the traditions, even though he said, that's what kept me going. That's what kept me alive. Wakanda, my heritage. But he was willing to choke the ancestors. He was willing to kill them. None of them mattered. And even the ones that he was supposed to protect. And as a man, your first duty is to protect the women under your life and then the children. As a king, is to protect your people. And he was willing to sacrifice his people to liberate his people.
I mean, but you know what, though? At the same time, like when it comes to Killmonger, I really think that also speaks to American selfishness.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. He's not a whole person.
No. I mean, but he has American programming.
No, I'm not even going to limit it to American programming. And you could argue even the Wakandans were not whole because they isolated them to the point of retardation.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But Eric Killmonger is truly fractured, right? Because when he goes to the ancestral plane, he goes back to the hellhole, which was his apartment in Oakland. And his father's there, and his father's lamenting, and his father knows that he has failed his son. The father himself says, I have failed you. Whereas if you compare it to, even though T'Challa's father wasn't perfect, he was a man, he was human, right? He said, a man who does not train his children to expect his death hasn't done his job. I'm supposed to train you to be ready, that I could go at any minute and you could go. You can keep running. You see what I'm saying? He wouldn't let him bow to him. He said, you're a king now. You don't bow to me. I understand I mean a lot, but you don't bow. You're a man. Whereas Eric, he never got to have that chance because his father was killed, right? And he grew up with the false equivalent of adulthood, of manhood from what he saw around him, and he made the best out of that. But making the best out of shit is still shit. You see what I'm saying? He was a fractured human being. And I like that they showed that. And that being said, I still was able to relate to him because of a lot of what he said was facts. He wasn't lying. You see what I'm saying? I just disagree with the actions that he took, but he told the truth.
But speaking of when T'Challa went to, he was on the other plane and he saw his father and all that. Are we not going to talk about how much that's from the Lion King? Like that, they literally took that, even the atmosphere around it was like they could have disguised this a little better than what they did.
Well, did they take
it was definitely,
or is that an African African tradition that you would speak to the ancestors?
If speaking to the ancestors is one thing, but to have it the scene so similar, even the color scheme so similar to that of in the Lion King, it's a little too close.
I agree.
But like it's just, I'm not saying the movie's bad, but there are some things that everyone we can praise the movie, but also bring up some of the stuff that might have been like a little.
No, I don't mind that. I don't mind that. I'm just saying, I got the Lion King reference, but I think it's an African. I don't want to say trope, but it's something that you would normally see. You know what I mean? It's not even the oral tradition. The movie starts out in oral tradition. That's very African. You see what I'm saying? Oh, and the line that Eric Killmonger says, he says when he gets the spear in his chest, he says, "Maybe we can still save you." And he looks at him quizzically and he says, "Why? So you could lock me in a cell for the rest of my life? Nah, bury me in the ocean with my ancestors who knew that death was better than bondage." You know what I mean? Which is a great line. There's a line. I don't know anybody watching a documentary, the 1619 Project, and a poem starts off the first episode, and they're at the water's edge, and you hear the ocean. And they said it's something to the effect of, this is a paraphrase, "We became a people on the third week when we stopped seeing the shore of home, when the depression went away, and we realized that we would never see our grandmothers and our fathers and our mothers again. We became a people." You know what I mean? And regardless of where the ships landed or when our families got to this point, wherever we are, that we're having this thing right now, all of us are one people. And we've all been touched by that. There's not a place in Africa that hasn't been touched by colonialism, I think, except Ethiopia. And if you look at that, and you could even argue that they deal with stuff to a certain extent. But us living under that yoke and them living under a different yoke of colonialism. So all of us are fractured. And I think that's why, to speak to the box office, it did gangbusters, because it's throwing out so many different gems that I don't know that everybody would get, but to us, we're all getting things because we've heard it all our lives. We've seen it all our lives. And I think, Chrissy, you said it earlier, or Vic said it, we actually get to see it on screen. And it's getting that treatment that it typically wouldn't. You know what I mean? And this is nothing against, if we're going to say a Tyler Perry budgeted movie, but usually, Tyler Perry doesn't get the budget of a Marvel movie. You know what I'm saying? And because it's self-financed, and there's nothing wrong against.
And he doesn't hire writers. He just writes.
No. That's not my point. My point is, if you have a budget of $30 million versus a budget of $100-something million, you can get it out a lot more, and you have a studio backing it. There has never been an instance like that where a major studio has backed a black movie to that level. Arguably, not even The Color Purple.
Facts.
But we can't bring up Black Panther without bringing up Blade. Blade was like the first mainstream.
I agree with you, but it did not get that blockbuster treatment.
It did not, especially not the first one. But as far as like groundbreaking, black superhero, he was the first one. And in fact, I think someone mentioned something about Black Adam being the first.
But that's a superhero movie, and he happened to be black, but that is not a black movie.
Are you talking about Black? Okay, because
I'm talking about Blade.
I can talk about Bad Boys too.
I wouldn't say that's a black movie. That's not a black movie. It starred two black stars.
That's what I said. When you said black movie, I was like, okay, fine. But they're starring two black.
No, I never said black movie. I said black superhero. He was like the first black hero. But someone mentioned something about Black Adam being the first black anti-hero. Yeah. But that might have been Blade. Blade might have been the first one.
I mean, how do you categorize a movie as a black movie? I feel like Soul Food is a black movie.
Remember, this movie clearly, to answer your question, Vic, is clearly a black film, right?
Yeah.
It screams of it. Now, I would say Color Purple only because Steven Spielberg directed it. So, of course, it got backing by studio. But the budget wasn't this big. It didn't need to be as big as Black Panther. But if you look at the cast and if you look at the creative team behind The Color Purple, if you look at the source material, obviously Alice Walker's book, The Color Purple, it's a black movie. Do you see what I'm saying? There is no other black film that got that special treatment. One, because Steven Spielberg, a white man who is Hollywood, you know what I mean, was going to direct it, and he put his muscle behind it. This is the first time you have Ryan Coogler coming out of Oakland. I think he's from Oakland. You see what I'm saying? Unapologetically black. The script is unapologetically black. The design is I think the only one who did the music is by, I think his name is Göransson, Hans Göransson or something like that. He did a great job. But everybody in this movie is black.
Blank Man. Oh shit. Media Man. Word. Yo, Media Man is like the most low budget movie.
Shaft now.
Oh man. Shaft is definitely a black movie.
Just a guy.
That's not a superhero.
What I'm saying, it didn't get the studio. Shaft came out during blaxploitation. People have to understand what I'm talking about. There's a difference between
Foxy Brown.
If we're gonna say,
I'm gonna get you, sucker.
Like now we're not talking about superheroes. I'm talking about superheroes or like people.
There's never been a black superhero movie with a big budget before Black Panther.
Yeah.
Black Panther is the first. Blade 2 got a big budget because Blade 1 set off the superhero trend. He happened to be black, but that is not a black superhero movie. He just happened to be black. All those movies, those blaxploitation movies, Hancock's not blaxploitation, but Meteor Man and everything like that. Meteor Man did well because, again, Robert Townsend was behind that. I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker. These are low budget films. Again, it's a low budget film, but these are for the most part, self-financed films. Do you see what I'm saying? It's not the studio backing them. The studio backing them would be, hey, I'm going to give you $100 million off back. No, I'm coming to you with X amount of dollars, and I have this producer who can bring in name credit to get people in the seats. And then the studio says, okay, fine, we will distribute it with our distributors. But there has never been, before Black Panther, any major studios backing a black film, one, besides Color Purple, or two, more to the point, a black superhero film. Hasn't been done. That's a fact. That's just.
But I'm saying, what qualifies a black film? Because if we're counting The Color Purple, who was directed by Steven Spielberg, why are we not counting?
You have the music director, the source material. Yeah, the music director, the source material, the cast itself. Who produced it? The way it got started wasn't Steven Spielberg. It was Debbie. What is it? Debbie Allen. Debbie Allen got Steven Spielberg to be a part of it, and she got Quincy Jones to be a part of it as well. It started the careers of so many different black people, who are one of which is a billionaire now, Oprah Winfrey. So that's clearly a black film. You see what I'm saying? I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker is clearly a black film, but it didn't have I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker didn't have the budget that The Color Purple had, and The Color Purple only got that budget because they got Steven Spielberg. Even though they had Quincy Jones, even though they had Debbie Allen, who already had fame, even though they had all these other actors in it and everything like that, it did not get the budget until Steven Spielberg was attached to it. This one had Ryan Coogler attached to it, and he had Fruitvale Station, which was a lower budget film, and he had Creed, which did well, and it wasn't a black film, whereas Fruitvale Station was a black film, but Creed was a Sylvester Stallone produced movie, and so this one was the first one.
All right, James, if I can interject, Mr. Johnson says, sorry to say, but Marvel did not really back Black Panther. If you can elaborate a little bit more on that, Mr. Johnson, I would really like to hear your opinion on that. Going into other details about this movie, before we head into final thoughts, James, you have broken down this movie tremendously. You're a little biased, I think, because you could actually tell before if you're going to give this a thumbs up or a thumbs down. But you know what? That speaks to the passion in this movie. It speaks to how much this has touched a lot of people. This movie has done in the past when it came out 2 years ago. Now, one question I want to ask before we get into final thoughts. For you, Vic, how many times did you see this movie in the theater? No, we're not going to final thoughts.
No, I never seen it in the theater.
No, you did kind of phrase it that way. I can see it in the theater.
This is my third time watching it. This is my third time watching it. This is it. Sorry.
Good thing.
Is it? It didn't die fast enough for me. All right. So we're going to take a small commercial break. Hopefully, Mr. Johnson will have an answer for us. We'll take a small commercial break, and then we'll be right back immediately after. Hold on. Damn. All right. Actually, let's dive into something else because something just got brought to my attention that I have to take care of. So, something else about this movie.
Well, I wanted to hear what who said that said something about Marvel didn't back Black Panther.
He wasn't listening to anything I just said. I said Marvel backed it because it was a big studio and they put money into it. I didn't say that they were outside cheerleading. I said that they put money behind it. That was my point. I made that cogent. Chris, I'm not biased. I don't know why you use that word exactly.
You're holding on to that, weren't you? I thought I was going to get away with it.
No. But I'm to be fair, I am passionate about this movie, but I've been passionate about other movies in the MCU, and I've elaborated on why I was that. And as I said, I critique this movie. I never come into the movie saying I love the CGI. That's not me. You're never going to hear me say the CGI was great and that's why I love the movie. I look at the character development. I look at the script. I look at the lines, the dialogue. That's what I like. Everything else is icing. It's frosting. It's extra. It's a added bonus to it. And let me just say this. So to me, the best part of this movie was the dialogue, the script. I love good dialogue. You know what I mean? Somebody mentioned Django in the comments. I love Quentin Tarantino movies. What? For the dialogue. Some people love it for the action. I love it for the dialogue. That's what I'm all about. Christy, I'm sorry, you were saying something.
Oh no, I was just thinking about
they took resources from the movie to work on Infinity War, hence by the CGI was not up to par.
That is kind of true. Right. I will say that about the CGI. I know that is in your thing, James, but the final scene, the final fight between Killmonger and Black Panther was a little like they could have did better on that.
William, what was the budget for this movie? That's what I want to know.
Would you like me to tell you what the budget was for this
movie?
You
have it up? Okay, go ahead.
I don't have it up, but I'll find out because it's always part of my final thoughts.
Okay.
Well, whatever the budget was, it's about to be double at least that.
If I remember correctly, it was 225 million. If I remember correctly,
that's a lot. So
okay, that's my point. As I said several times, and please rewatch the broadcast. I never said that Marvel cheerleaded the movie. I never said that. If they cheerleaded the movie would have been out in phase 1. Okay, Hollywood does not cheerlead black films. You'll never hear me say that.
No, but I think he was saying that the person who commented.
He commented in reference to me, and I'm making it very clear, William. I said the only other black movie, because I said unless it's self-financed, that's why I said Tyler Perry to begin with, because he self-finances it himself, right? Exactly that is The Color Purple, right? And that was because Steven Spielberg was attached to this. This one, I give it credit because there was no Steven Spielberg behind it. It was just Disney or Marvel, however you want to say it, but it's really Disney. And they put $225 million into it. You see what I'm saying? I don't give a damn what the CGI looked like. They let a black movie onto a mass audience. You see what I'm saying? And it was unapologetically black. And if you think that they didn't look at that script and see that, then you're wrong. Because, and I'm not saying that Will didn't say that part, but I'm just saying this is a black movie and it hits hard. Okay, it hits very hard. The Color Purple is very soft when it comes to critiquing the larger community. The Color Purple is about critiquing the black community, insular. This one is about critiquing the black community, Africans versus those in the diaspora versus, as they say, colonizers in the white world. All right. And how the white world got to the positions of power that they are in currently today. This movie is unapologetically black. And for Disney to put $225 million into it, whether or not they took some for Infinity War, whatever like that, that may be. But still, at least they put hundreds of millions of dollars into a black movie. And I'm going to give it some credit because it's not done in Hollywood. It's just not.
But so we're closing in at around 50 minutes, guys. So I think it might be time to get into a final thoughts. Chris? You ready?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I keep shaking my head. Yes, but unfortunately, I'm black. All right, so go ahead and take this commercial break. We'll come back. Let's go into our final thoughts. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back after this small commercial break. Ooh, I messed up.
Do you want to show your love?
Twice.
Do you want to show your love for the UPR universe? Or do you just want to show your love for Yep, I Like Wrestling? If you want to support these guys, go to ProWrestlingTees.com, where you can get shirt and a lot of other merch.
going on with you?
I'm really sorry. I'm so busy. I'm slammed.
Don't mess with me, because I will kill you and everybody you love.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Unpopular Reviews Black Panther Edition. Black Shadow sees Superior Shuri needs a spinoff and Diaspora right here. To answer the question, I decided to get ready for this role, for this character I'm creating for this movie. That's why you can see me in the shadows. This movie spoke volumes, whether or not how much it was taken out of it. Still a great movie, none of the less. That's true. We're about to get in final thoughts. Ladies, first, see the Superior. Take it away.
All right. So I thought this movie was just awesome. I thought it was a groundbreaking movie. It was an event. Like I said, it wasn't just a movie, it was an event. Like when you went to go see it, especially on opening weekend, you went to show out pretty much. It was just awesome. It was just like, I guess I liken it to kind of like Comic-Con when people would kind of dress up and stuff like that. They would do that just to go see this movie. I will say, if I take out Black Panther out of this movie, just say if it was just a normal, regular, I guess, MCU movie, would I like it as much? Maybe not. I think it wasn't. If this was just like a Captain America movie, I don't find it to be all that, I don't know, different or I don't know, something about it. Like if it just taking out the aspect of it being a Black Panther movie, the way it was, the fight scenes, the way the plot kind of, how the plot went, I don't know. It just wasn't all that for me plot wise, but it does get that extra, I guess, lift because it was so groundbreaking for me. And because you see like people that look like you on screen and all of that for me. So, but I'm still going to give it a thumbs up because it was a good movie. So yeah.
Nice. So we have one thumbs up from C to Superior to Black Panther. Shuri needs a spinoff. Take it away. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Why not?
You see that?
Yes, it's
she is the last character that you see at the end of the credits. And what is she doing?
Back of her head.
Yes. And who is she helping? And she also said during the movie when the colonizer got killed, oh good, another white boy for us to fix. She's always fixing the white boy.
Oh. Speaking of the accents were all over the place in the movie too.
Yeah, the accents really were, but it's hard to get an African accent without being an African. You know what I mean? So like, it's okay. But like, I really liked her. I mean, yes, we're in the middle of pro girl. You know, girls are awesome. But her character, just her humor, her ability, the way that she can put something on a car and then drive it. She can throw something on a plane and then drive it. Like the technology to me was just amazing. Besides the fact of the whole story and everything with this movie, I really, really like the introduction to the characters because even showing this, and the reason why I pulled this out is because I really feel like they're going to continue with her, and they might do something with her where she just, literally rebuilds all of this stuff. They already said how she's going to spearhead the technology department of that building that they bought in LA, back in Oakland again, at the end of the movie. So I really, really, really like her. And, and other than that, I like everything else in the movie. And one small little nugget that I found that I really, really appreciated was that they used rhinos instead of horses, because horses were like brought over by, other people. So like they used rhinos instead of horses. There was not one horse in this movie, which I really appreciate. I did because it spoke to cultural accuracy. So I really enjoyed it.
But what I could be wrong, but what country in Africa rides rhinos like horses?
It was only his rhino. He was the only one with the rhino. It was his pet. You remember the beginning of the movie? That was his pet.
Yeah, but weren't they riding in on rhinos at the end of the final?
He had a rhino. That was his pet.
I've never seen anybody.
It wasn't a cavalry of rhinos. It was his rhino, his pet.
Oh, okay. I didn't know, but still, it was hot.
You remember he was feeding apples in the beginning when they first found out about Ulysses Claw stealing the vibranium axe or whatever, pick or whatever. He was feeding his rhino apples, and T'Challa says it got so big, it's still growing, and he says, "Yeah."
Oh, facts. You're right. Yeah,
what about in Infinity Wars? Weren't they riding in on the rhinos?
Guys, I gotta go.
No.
7:30.
Did you give it a thumbs up or thumbs down?
Thumbs up. Thumbs up. A whole bunch of thumbs up. Thumbs up.
See ya. That was the Mark Victor Rodriguez, or Journey spinoff, whatever you want to call him. I don't think they'll make Shuri a Black Panther. I don't see that happening. But definitely do see more things coming Shuri's way. Spinoff, not so sure. James, go ahead. You got the.
Well, listen. I wonder if I'm gonna make this a thumbs up or thumbs down. I have no idea. Listen. I always come for those people who are new. I always come at a movie for what they present, right? If you present the movie like Avatar was presented in theaters, a visual, sumptuous feast, then the CGI better be on point. If something's wonky, okay, to a certain degree, but it should be groundbreaking, right? Because that's what you're advertising. If you tell me something is the scariest movie ever, I don't care if I can see the wires gushing out the blood. I just better be scared, okay? This movie, Black Panther, was not advertised to me as a CGI fest. It wasn't advertised to me as a smart man does magic technology like we see in some of the other MCU movies. This movie was about a king or a would-be king and somebody who was coming after the throne. It did that. Did I know that they were going to have all the dialogue and really go at it like I said that they did as far as criticizing the culture? And as I said, many different cultures, from outside suppressive culture to culture within the diaspora to culture within Africa to the interplay between the different cultures that we see, that we talk about, that other people may not be aware, other communities may not be aware. I didn't know that they were going to do that. The movie brought that. That added something for me. I didn't know that the costumes were going to be that detailed. It added something for me. Do I care that the fight scenes or whatever look weird or whatever? I'm not coming to Black Panther to see the fight scenes. You know what I mean? I'll go see Jet Li's movie for the fight scenes if I want to do that. What I loved was the dialogue. And to me, the last scene of this movie, regardless of the fact that they went to the UN, was when Killmonger is talking to T'Challa.
Yeah.
Right. And they're looking through the mouth of the cave. And he says, my father always told me the sunsets were the most beautiful in all the world. And you think back and said, he killed all those people. He did all those things. He excelled at school. He was the best at everything he did just to get to Wakanda. And ever since he got to Wakanda, all he did was destroy it or threaten to destroy it. Right. And this is the first time he's actually just being Eric and just sitting there and taking in the beauty that his father told him about. And it's so sad because he wasted all that time. He learned nothing. As smart as he was, as dedicated, as talented as he was, he learned nothing, because when he finally got the chance to see Wakanda, he never saw it until he was dying. Now, if they bring him back or whatever like that, who knows? But I'm just saying, in this go round, he never saw Wakanda until he was dying. And then, but true to form, when his cousin says to him, we might be able to save you, he says, no, you're just going to lock me up. His point of reference is still living underneath that shackle. And he says, I won't let you lock me up in a cage for the rest of my life. You better bury me in the ocean, just like the ancestors jumped from the ships. You know what I mean? Because they knew that death was better than bondage. I love that. That's to me, the greatest line in the movie, other than when he's speaking to the curator in that British museum. And, you have all these guards who are following him and everything, and they're looking at him. Why are they looking at him and nobody else? But he's not even acting like he's cognizant of that. Why? Because he's been followed in every store, from JCPenney's to any other store you want to say, all his life. So he knows. And he's playing dumb through the whole movie, right? He's playing Ulysses Claw, who's supposed to be this intelligent criminal who knows what's going on. And he played him too. And so the curator, who kind of is annoyed, like, what do you want me for? You asking me these questions. And then she's like kind of paternalistic, like, oh, you actually know some things and you like this, you're interested. I can teach you something. You know what I mean? I can show you something. And then when he refutes what she says and doesn't just take her information as biblical, she looks at him like, who do you think you are? And he says to her, I'm going to take this. And she said, this isn't for sale. And he said, well, how did your ancestors get it? Did they pay a fair price? Did they give some beads or some trinkets? Or did they just take it? I'm going to take it just like your people took it. And you never see that on film. You never have that honesty. You never have that anger and that rage, which so many people who look like me have. I love it. Thumbs up.
All right, James, great job there. Gave it a thumbs up, so that's 3 thumbs up. Now it's time for my personal opinion, the colonizer, because I had to change my name because I decided to go ahead and take care of business. Now, this movie, let's talk about the facts. Made 7.3 out of 10 on IMDb.com. Cost $200 billion to make. Made $1.3 billion worldwide. $700 million of it came from the United States of America. I can tell you what I did not like about this movie. I think this movie was overrated, and I think it was overhyped. I think Killmonger was a okay villain, superior for a Marvel villain, but however, compared to most other villains in movies that are classic, I don't think he was that good. Simply because of the fact that people made me dislike him because they were talking about how great he was and how he had this proactive thinking and stuff like that, but he was a villain. He was killing people, including his own girlfriend, to do something to cause more deaths and across the entire planet. So, therefore, I was not that big a fan of Killmonger, even though he had some great scenes and some great lines, including the one that James said. Of course, my favorite line was, all that childish shit is dead. Love that line. Thought it was good. Thought it was cool. I like Forrest Whitaker making an appearance in the movie, playing Forrest Whitaker. That was cool. I'm always a fan of seeing Angela Bassett in Wakanda. That was cool. I'm not exactly sure why I was sure he needs a spinoff, because I think she needs to practice being her own character in this movie, because she just looks like a young little brat. What are those? That's what I felt about Shuri in that movie. But this movie told a very good point, and I remember exactly how much people were looking forward to this movie going into this movie. This movie is groundbreaking. I've seen some movies out there, but I knew exactly what James was talking about when he said the amount of power, I will say, that was given to this movie was groundbreaking for any movie of an African-American descent going into a movie of this size. And that's why it made so much money. That's why people, and I asked that question in the beginning, how many times did you go back to see it? I saw it 3 times. Did not want to see it 3 times, but I went to go see one person and another person. I think another person came down to visit me. I saw it in D.C. Then I moved down to Orlando. One person said, hey, I never saw Black Panther, so I went with that person. Then another person came down and said, I never saw Black Panther, so I went to go see that movie with them. And I didn't mind going to see the movie, but I didn't want to see it 3 times. But that shows you the amount of leverage this movie had with so many people, which was a hot topic for the first 6 months of 2018 before Avengers came out. Anyway, that being said, when I gave this movie a thumbs up or a thumbs down, I'm going to give it, for the second time ever on this program, a thumbs up. 4 thumbs up for this movie, Black Panther, and a really good job goes to them and the team. Am I looking forward to seeing the...
Hi.
I am very much looking forward to seeing that. Can't wait to see the sequel in this one. Black Panther, kudos to that. Kudos, good job to them. So, see Superior. James, what y'all got? You got anything else?
Yeah, I just wanted to do this. This is just something that it reminded me of another movie that I really, really enjoyed, Man of Steel. There's when Killmonger is facing T'Challa at the waterfall, and he said, I killed my own people, you know what I mean? And he's listing all the things he did. It reminded me of the sequence when Zod is talking to Cal, and he says to him, he says, I was born and bred to defend Krypton. Everything I did, whether good or bad, cruel or not, was for the greater good of Krypton. And now I have no people. That's what you took from it. You know what I mean? And it reminded me of that, their motivations and their point of view and their perspective. And it was a nice callback for me for Man of Steel.
Both of them needed that. You're completely correct. That was a good reference, James. I have to commend you for that one. See over there making faces. Man of Steel was a fantastic movie. I can't wait to
I like that movie.
I can't wait till we get to that. That was great.
That was DC's one good movie recently.
That's you don't know DC movies. You don't know DC movies.
I'm saying recently.
I can name three right now that are better than most of all MCU
recently. I'm talking. Okay.
No. You said DC movies. That was your comment, right? Here we go.
No. I said recently.
Here we go. Man of Steel. BVS, which people don't understand. It's not Batman versus Superman. It's BVS. That means it's a courtroom and it's arguments, dialogue, conversation, disagreements. That's why that movie is like that. And there's not a lot of action, punchy, run. Okay, BVS. I'll give you Watchmen. Watchmen was good. People don't understand that. I'll give you V for Vendetta. I'll give you that. You can even put the whole.
V for Vendetta.
V for Vendetta. Yeah. People don't understand that.
No.
Okay, it's very good.
I'll
give you the Nolan trilogy. Okay,
I wouldn't go put Dark Knight in there because Dark Knight can be argued as like one of the greatest movies of all time. Period. But we can have
outside. If y'all didn't cut me off before I was able to finish, I said outside of the Batman movies.
There's no MCU movie that came out that was deep before Black Panther, with the exception of maybe one, and I'm not being funny. I'm trying to decide which one was poignant. Yeah, which was poignant about something. Most MCU movies are not poignant. Dark Knight was a poignant movie. It broke the hero, and he came back in the same movie. MCU movies cannot say that. They can't do it.
What was Aquaman about? What was Aquaman?
Aquaman was good.
You told me I couldn't name a movie, and I just gave you like 4 or 5.
No, okay. Well,
ladies and gentlemen, if you want to see these two go at it some more, join us in a couple minutes because we're about to go ahead and get over this.
Chrissy and I agree on the next one.
Whatever. We're about to get off this program and hop right back on in 10 minutes for Sonic the Hedgehog, which came out earlier this year.
Mark, you're talking crazy, Mark. You're talking real funny.
Thank you so much for watching us. We'll see you in a couple minutes. Have a good night.